मुच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
नमो भगवते तस्मै कृष्णाय अद्भुतकर्मणे रूपनाम विभेदेन जगत् क्रीडति यो यथा। बुद्धिप्रेरक कृष्णस्य पादपद्मं प्रसीदतु ध्यानासमर्थ जीवानाम् अस्माकं सर्वतः। प्रभुर्नंदकुमारो में स्वामिनी वृषभानुजा कृतार्थोऽहं 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 न संशयः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। पुष्टिमार्य सर्वज्ञः करुणारसपूरितः श्रेष्ठफलप्रदाता च तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Welcome you all to session 3 of this digital web series by the name of Solutions in 2021, a Vedic Lifestyle. In the previous 2 sessions, we have learned a lot about the Vedas, the Vedic culture, and the communication aspect that is there in the Vedic culture. In today's session, we'll try to deep dive in the problems that we face in our life, and we'll try to see whether religion or whether scriptures or whether spirituality is suggesting us something or not. Having said that, I would like to thank Prempuri Ashram for organizing this wonderful series, especially to Girish Bhai Dresswala, who nominated my name for this amazing lecture series that we are going through. And I'm really grateful to him. And I hope this particular series will help us understand Vedas in a highly effective manner. It's not just about the Vedas, but it's about the entire Vedic culture that we have been carrying since ages and ages. Whenever we create something, we tend to understand or we try to understand how to operate it. If we create a machine, we understand the do's and don'ts of handling those machines. We understand some general practice as to how to handle a particular machine. We learn how to make the most out of that particular machine. Similarly, when we are handling life, we need to understand what are things that are certain and what are things that are not certain, or what are things that are uncertain in our lives. When we try and understand this particular given situation, it will give us humongous amount of clarity as to what human nature has to do, as to what mankind has to do, and last but not the least, what is the purpose of our existence altogether. There's a major saying, everyone is equal. But I have this one question to all my youngsters and everyone who's listening to me. Are we really equal? It's a major thing that we all need to think. Human beings, as humans, are we really all equal? We have been constantly talking about equality since ages. Governments, kings, opportunities, expectations. We all have been talking about equality since ages. We also need to acknowledge the fact that in the name of equality, a lot of wrong things have happened in the catastrophe period of 300 to last 400 years. Issues like casteism, narrow mindedness, not promoting girl education, and at the same time, not acknowledging the child's growth or focusing on child's welfare. A lot of these factors we all as a society were ignorant about because we had our own set of struggles for safeguarding our own identity. Because our identity was not safeguarded, a lot of other invasions have introduced flavors in our identity. So, what is our true identity? What is that true tradition or culture that existed in the Vedic lifestyle? And this is one of the most prominent things that we all should be thinking about, should be looking out for, and at the same time, we should be striving towards maintaining that original clause and original thought. The way NASA has progressed in terms of understanding time, space, and aeronautics, the Indian subcontinent has its own observation in terms of astronomical thoughts. Due to a lot of observations, we could understand the prominent planetary systems or planets around us and the aspects which were beneficial or had a direct implication to our lifestyle. And that's why astronomy and astrology were the two major mechanisms that were originated in our space, in our ecosystem, and our culture. Since we have been so diverse in terms of land, in terms of language, in terms of thoughts, and we have been geographically bifurcated at multiple places as well. Because of all these factors, Bharat has been blessed to experience a lot of things in terms of invasions from the north, entries from China, uh, Westerners coming through the path of the sea, our connections with Myanmar, our connections with Lanka, our connections with Afghan, our connections with our neighboring states and countries. What I know last, I had heard from a very authenticated source that Bharat used to be an Ardha Chandra. What do we mean by that? A semi-sphere space, a half spherical space. So basically, right from the tip of Gujarat till the last Arunachal Pradesh, being one of our topmost, last eastmost state, it was a semicircle, and that's how Bharat was. And eventually, strategically, all these parts got diverted, divided, removed, etc. etc. Now, if you think that we should ignore our past and start focusing on the future, it really bothers me as to what kind of future are we focusing on. Are we focusing on a future that is not dependent on our ethos, our own theologies, our own Indology systems, or are we going to be completely dependent on the Western thought process that has been implemented in the Indian segment? May it be having aspirational values, may it be experiences, it could be anything else. This is one major question that we need to think as a society, whether we want to be so modern that we want our culture to be cut off, or we want to be so ethnic that we'll be so rigid and we'll never think of upgrading our own selves. And this is the major issue right now in the country too. We have both these ideologies. Extremely primitive and rigid situation, which has a lot to do with customs and not with tradition. It has a lot to do with practices, but not the reasoning behind those practices. It has a lot to do with parampara or tradition, but not the root cause behind those practices. And the worst part, we make people fight amongst each other on the basis of caste, on the basis of creed, on the basis of races, on the basis of opportunities. And that brings me to a question. Are we really equal? Are two families having equal amount of food at the same time? Are the rich and the poor living a similar set of lifestyle? We might be equal in front of the eyes of God. We may be equal in front of the law. But are we really equal in terms of the life that we are living? And that's the space where the theory of karma steps into the picture. A lot of people in India as well are now not believing in something called as life after death. Well, fair point. It's okay to feel that. But at least try to understand the perspective. What is the original or what is the root of Sanatan Dharma and what is it trying to say when we talk about life after death? Let me share you a small story. In Rama Avatar, Ram kills Bali. Ram kills Bali. And at that time, he was questioning, what have I done? In Krishna Avatar, Krishna gets hurt because of a hunter. And that hunter was no other than Vali from the previous birth. This is one of the biggest examples of karma. Now, let me quote you something else. There's a sage called Parashar, Parashar Muni. His son is called Parasharya. Once Parasharya went to Parashar Muni and asked for implications about Kali Yuga. And here's one amazing statement that Parashar Muni made. If you do something wrong in Satya Yuga, you'll face results or consequences immediately. If you do something wrong in Treta Yuga, you'll see something within a week's time. If you do something wrong in the Dwapar Yuga, you will see the consequences within a month's time. And in Kali Yuga, if you do something wrong, you will see the consequences within 1 year. Now, just try to correlate this entire thought process with your own self. 2020, we were not careful. 2021, we are suffering because of our own actions that we have taken place. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm taking responsibility as we all, as a unit, as a society, as a nation. China took efforts, they got safeguarded. USA took efforts, they got safeguarded. India couldn't take the efforts, and that's why we are facing this situation that we are in right now. Now, a lot of people feel, but that rich guy does a lot of wrong things. Nothing happens to him. You don't know what amount of mental pressure do rich people go through when they are earning from wrong sources. And that's why there is a major saying, all that glitters is actually not gold, and it's absolutely correct. Whatever is glittering is not gold, absolutely not. And with that same thought process, I have this one question. Just because they are rich doesn't mean that they don't have any problems. Does it mean that they don't have any challenges? Does it mean that their life is absolutely flawless, absolutely amazing? They have nothing to worry about? The answers are absolutely not. The richer you are, the bigger problems you have to face. Your decisions can actually impact a lot of other people. And being a rich person, you would be approached by a lot of people to help, for seeking help, for seeking money, for seeking opportunities, etc. etc. Plus, you have to entertain them at the same time. Now, having said all of these things, let's think of these certain aspects that can help us understand this entire concept of equality and whether it can actually be tackled by the concept called as equity. Here, equity doesn't refers to shares. I'm referring to certain set of people taking certain initiatives in order to help the later half of the society. And since we say charity begins at home, let's talk about how can we take care of relationships and take care of things within our own family, and then we'll move on to the external segment of the world. In the previous session, we learned about the various ashram. We learned about brahmacharya ashram, grihasthashram, vanaprasthashram, and sannyasta ashram. And in every stage of life, there are certain activities that need to be performed by each individual in order to make the most out of these situations. Having said that, what are the things that needs to be taken care of so that we can take care of our own family, our relatives, our external society, and our stakeholders at the same time? We have already learned a lot about communications. Now let's try and understand what are the things that we can do in order to make or in order to understand how can this world be a better place. An ideal family has been propounded by the scriptures. It talks as dhairya yasya pita, kshama cha janani, shantish gehini, satyam mitramidam daya cha bhagini, bhrata manas sanyamah, शय्या भूमितलं दिशोपि वसनं ज्ञानामृतं भोजनं येते यस्य कुटुम्बिनो वद सखे कस्मात् भयं योगिनः. It comes in a scripture called as Bhartruhari Shatak. Bhartruhari Shatak is trying to make us understand the concept. Who can help to bring the change or bring the difference in the society? And for that, it has given a great ideology and analogy in terms of qualities that need to be there around you. So, first of all, it says dhairya yasya pita. That means patience is the king. That means patience is the father. Anything that you need to do in life, you need extreme patience. You need that extreme amount of focus. You need to wait to face that success or failure. You need that patience that allows you to strive and fight further in order to achieve what you want to achieve. And the finest example would be your own father, who has taken numerous amount of efforts to actually nurture you, to actually improve your lifestyle, to actually help you do really well in your life. If you consider all of these things, patience has been one thing that can allow you to win any enemy, and it can help you achieve success till a larger front. The second thing we need to learn is Kshama Cha Janani. We need to forgive people the way a mother forgives a child. And that's why Kshama Cha Janani is being mentioned over here. Janani refers to Mata, Janani refers to mother. Whatever wrong the child does, the mother is always forgiving the child. Right? It's extremely crucial for us to let go. It's important for us to be forgiving. And that's why it is said, Kshama Virasya Bhushanam. Someone who has a big heart is actually a Veer. He or she has courage that he or she can actually forgive someone. Otherwise, it's very easy for us to maintain the grudge for ages to come. And Even modern research talks about this. If you are jealous, or if you're envying, or if you're angry at someone because of something that they have done, it's only when you forgive, you can let it go and you can feel much better. The third aspect that is extremely crucial for us to be better human beings is Kshantis Chiram Chagehini. Have you ever wondered your partner? Have you ever heard your partner wanting to go away from you? Your partner is someone who would like to stick to you. Unfortunately, that's not the situation in the current scenarios of youngsters because we all are fearing commitments. We all fear commitments in relationships. However, Shastra has given one very strong example over here. Shanti, the peace has been referred to wife. Now, for people who face troubles in their relationships, sometimes it's important for us to accept the opposite person as they are in order to have a peaceful relationship. More than having expectations, it's important to have acceptance. Once we start having acceptance, there's more peace. And once there is peace, there is a lot of room to do something more. Personally, it's difficult for a person like me as well to maintain peace half the time because I'm always on the roll. Because of the Rajas Tattva, it completely makes me engage in multiple format of activities. But that's the beauty of being a yogi. You're supposed to come out of this zone of being continuously engaged, where you're not just engaged, possibly you are attached with those engagements. And your peace can only be achieved. And I'm not talking about a short term peace, a peace that is long term in nature, a peace that can actually bring fruits for other people in life, peace that is going to be beneficial for people, peace that allows you to be with your own self, peace that lets you do better things and achieve better things in life. All these factors put together refer to the concept of Shanti Shageti. Fourth aspect, and in my opinion, this is one of the most rarest aspects which my youngster friends need to understand. In order to make a healthy society, in order to improve our relationships with people, I have already explained this point before as well. However, it's coming once again, and the concept is going to be of truth. The concept is about Satyam Mitram Idam. जिसका दोस्त सत्य होता है, whose friend is the truth, જેનો મિત્ર સત્ય છે. અર્જુનનો મિત્ર સત્ય હતો. Arjun's friend was the truth. How do we know that Satyavratam Satyaparam Trisatyam Satyam Satyasya Yonim, etc., etc. Verses of Satya, words of Satya being repeated in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto. When Lord is about to take birth, all the gods and goddesses are actually praying for the Lord and extolling him to be truth. The worst thing that you can expect to do is treachery or to cheat. Unfortunately, we all might have done this at some stage in our life. If we haven't, we should never do that. And if we have, we should seek for forgiveness, be humble about it, acknowledge that mistake, and move on in life and decide that we'll never be like this once again, ever. You can only be greedy or self centered, and you can lie about it and you can hide about it, provided you're fearing something or provided you want to safeguard something. But the minute you acknowledge the truth, peace is an automatic factor that steps into the picture. And trust me, there's nothing more important than having one true friend in comparison to 1,000 fake followers on Instagram, Facebook, and any other platforms. That one true friend is more than enough because that person will talk straight right into your eyes and say the truth to you. The next point is Daya cha Bhagini. Daya, compassion. I'm happy and sad at the same time. I'm happy about one thing, that we are growing our compassion towards animals, towards living beings other than humans. I'm extremely proud about that our society is making some progress and is understanding that we need to take care of dogs, cats, birds, squirrels, or any other form of pet, or any other form of life that is there around us, even plants for a matter of fact. However, since we are so populated in nature, we're not understanding the importance of a life, and we have zero compassion towards people who are deprived of a lot of things, thinking that they are bad. But they are not bad, the situations are bad. And even if they are bad, they're trying their level best to change those. Maybe they're not lucky enough, or maybe they're not blessed enough, or maybe they're not so fortunate enough to have everything that you have in your life. So even if so, there was a situation. There were two children, and one of them was a very self-centered, self-obsessed person, and the other one was kind of sharing, kind of caring, and all of this. One day, both of these children were walking down the park, and for once, a beggar's son is coming and asking for some food, and they were having some food at that given point of time. The self-centered guy just shoo him away, saying that, "Hey, you know what? Go away." On the other side, the guy who had something, he gave half of his share to the other person, and these were like 7, 8 year old. And then the parents asked them, "Why did you do what did you do?" So the guy who didn't partake anything or didn't share anything said it was for me, and that's the reason I didn't give it. And the other guy said, even if it was for me, I think he needed more than me. And if I need it, I'm sure you will give it to me. This is the segment of understanding that if children can have. Now I understand we might have some of our complexions or some of our doubts that we need to be compassionate towards beggars coming into our street because they have enough money. They ask on so many people. I'm sure they earn a lot of money. If you can, and if you can cross check, great. If you can't cross check, you can be compassionate towards people who are genuine. And if you don't have those people who are genuine, you can start coordinating and cooperating and correlating yourself with organizations that are doing such genuine kind of work. Who are not interested in doing so much showbiz, but they're definitely interested in helping people out. Having said that, compassion. Compassion is like when you make a mistake and your sister is trying to protect you because she has that compassion for you. She has the daya for you. And that's one of the major learnings that we need to take. The next talks about the next one. I think it's one of the most toughest one. And it talks about Bhrata Manasanyamaha, whose brother is actually controlling of senses or taking care of senses. And why was I saying that it has been one of the most toughest one? Because it's very difficult to control our own mind. You can read Bhagavad Gita, you'll get enough instances as to how can you control your mind. You can do to the karma marg, you can do to bhakti marg, you can do to jnana marg, you can have the yoga, you can do upasana. However, I really like the approach of sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja. Reason being, you are doing complete surrender over there, and then the Lord is taking care of everything. Though this particular shloka has been interpreted in multiple other ways, But complete surrender will help you give your own self and your own mind and everything to Lord. You are only the bearer of it, and rest everything that you do around it has been offered to Lord. Now, mind is one place which is extremely corrupt and extremely innocent at the same time. I understand it's difficult for us to work on it, but maybe someday we'll know more about the mind and how can we take care of it. But taking care of our mind, and mind has a direct relationship with the senses. Once we start controlling our mind, senses can be taken care of automatically. Our mind is a wanderlust. It can wander every now and then at multiple places at the same time. If we start realizing and understanding what is important, what needs to be done, etc., those things will help us to be a better human being, and eventually a better society can get evolved. The next one is actually a tougher one. Why is it a tougher one? The reason being, we all have a habit of living luxurious lives. Okay. We all want certain things in a certain way. We would like to travel first class, only travel through air, have a certain set of food, live in certain way, need certain assets, need certain things. We are probably stuck in certain form of activities, or possibly we have a particular way of living, or or we need or we need a bed, and without a bed we cannot sleep. Now, here's a question: what if you don't get a bed? Will you be able to sleep? Personally, if you ask me, maybe I don't need a high-rise bed, but maybe I need some soft surface, at least on the earth, to let me sleep comfortably. And here's a more challenging question that comes by. And I have seen yogis and I've seen people who don't bother about how to sleep, and they sleep on the earth. It is referred as Shayya Bhumi Talam. One of the major indications that we get over here is this particular person is humble, person is grounded, a person is well connected with the roots and doesn't need too many things for his own maintenance. Whatever you are doing, you want a good sleep. And that good sleep is achieved by being in a state which doesn't affect you, which doesn't make you feel anxious, which doesn't make you feel sad, which doesn't make you feel extremely elated. And you're extremely calm and composed. And you can accept your mother Bhumi as the space where you can just go in her lap and sleep. If we now see the conditions of being a better human being is changing over the period of time. The next is Dishopi Vasanam. That refers to Dishai jiska vastra hai. Now, in the previous session only, I spoke about Ano Bhadraha Kratavo Yantu Vishwatana, which means may the knowledge come from multiple sides. And having said that, it's extremely crucial for us to know this. Disha, it's open, it's limitless, and it shows openness of some person. Vastra or clothes are needed to safeguard your own body. But when you make friends with Disha, I'm not referring to a girl. I'm referring to the directions over here. When you make friends with Disha, at that time, it's requesting you to be more open, because directions are limitless in nature. You don't know when is the stop. You don't know when is it going to end. And that's why Vastropi, Dishopi Vasanam is being mentioned over here. The next one, Gnana Amrutam Bhojanam. Gnana Amrutam Bhojanam. The one who's striving for knowledge every now and then is regularly taking nourishment through good thoughts, good principles, good friends, good companies, great amount of experiences, things that are making him grow. Such people can be better human beings. Such people can be better human beings. The strive for knowledge, strive for knowing more is considered to be the bhojan, is considered to be the food, as I had mentioned in my previous session as well. Food for thought. Here's the biggest thing, because we are one culture that talks about tamasoma jyotirgamaya. May one lead me from darkness towards the light. When I don't know something, I'm in the darkness. When I know something, I'm in the light. When I'm not sure of what am I doing, I'm in the darkness. When I know what I'm doing, I'm to going towards the light. And this is one of the biggest beauty. This is one of the biggest beauty of having knowledge as an amrut, because food is also amrut. For us, food nourishes us. And that's why we can do our daily activities. We can live a dinacharya. And that's why knowledge is important. You need, it's not just knowledge, I would rather say. It's the application of that knowledge which helps us being better human beings. And hence it is said, Yete yasya kutumbino vada sakhe kasmat bhayam yogina. Now, if such person has such relatives, what will that person fear? You have knowledge, that means you'll be able to do something. If you're not succeeding, you have patience, that means you'll face something. If someone is antagonizing you, you'll forgive that person and let go and move on. You are extremely peaceful, you're extremely calm. You don't care about luxuries, you can live a normal lifestyle. Am I asking you to be an ascetic or a monk? No, I'm not asking you to renounce your world and just not do anything. But less is more. And that's exactly the kind of concept that is being conveyed over here. Now, let me give you a bit of awareness. Aren't we all stuck because of something called as Maya? Isn't Maya that is bothering us? Isn't Maya an illusion that is making us feel, oh, only if I go in a first class flight, my journey of experience is going to be extremely nice. Only if I go to foreign countries, I am actually going to evolve, or I am going to feel blissful. Only if I go to a particular hotel, I am going to enjoy my dinner or probably my stay. Only if I be in a certain well-being situation which has a list of blah 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 blah, and we restrict ourselves towards the possibility of finding anything new, we get stuck. And that's not the Vedic lifestyle. That's not the suggested lifestyle which has been given by the scriptures. Absolutely not. There is no age of learning. We all know that. Is it wrong to aspire something? No. Is it wrong to be attached toward that aspiration? Aspiration? Yes. Can you do something about it? Yeah. What should I do? Read Gita. Read Bhagavad Gita. So many scriptures have been. Here's one book that I would like to recommend you. It's called The Secret of Gyan Yoga. Well, you know what is the price of this book? Let me tell you. 20 rupees. How many pages does it have? 300. Who has published it? Gita Press Gorakhpur. How do you find it? It's there online. You may find it at Prempuri Ashram as well. There is ample amount of information available on the internet. It's only your intent that makes you a better human being. It's only your choices that can help you actually become a better human being. It's only you and your sankalpa or your desire to be a better human being that is actually going to make some difference in this world. Now, enough said and done. You guys might feel, it's easy to say such things. It's very easy for someone who is not going to expect something. Well, it's a mechanism. As I said earlier, you need to have some do's and don'ts in order to live a particular lifestyle. You need a do's and don'ts for your own self. You need some do's and don'ts in order to understand as to how can you make your life much better. Now, if we go and see, if we go and see, what is the situation outside? How is it going to impact us? And why is it important for us to sail through this entire situation? And in the same Bhartruhari Vairagya Shatak, they are talking about Asha Nama Nadi, Manoratha Jala, Trushna Taranga Kula, Ragagrahavati Vitarka Vihaga, Dhairya Druma Dhvansini, Moha Varta Sudustaro Tigahana. And that verse will actually help us understand how is the world outside. It's trying to talk about Asha Nama Nadi. The world that we are living in is actually by the name called Asha. Asha means expectations. Now, in this river, there is water which goes by the name Ichha. That means wish. Manoratha Jala. Now, if we go and see, obviously, when there's a river, there are going to be some waves. These waves are they are termed by the name Trushna. Trushna, lobha, greediness. Greediness is actually the wave. Now, in this very much river, there is something called as rag. There is dvesha. There's jealousy. And who are they? They are the crocodiles. I don't have this. He has that. He is better than me. I don't have this. I need to have this. How can he have that? What did he do to deserve something like that? These are our rags. These are our dvesh. And hence we are just like crocodiles. And you know what these crocodiles can do? These crocodiles can actually eat away all your logic. And what are these logics? These logics are nothing but the various fisheries that are. These logics are nothing but the various fishes and other animals that are there present in that particular river. All our tarka vitarka, all our logic, all our reasoning are nothing but various forms of fish that are present in that particular river. And remember one thing, the the crocodile is actually dependent on such things. And that's why all your logic has an enemy, which is by the name Rag and Dvesh. Now, at the same time, if you go near the river, there's a tree. That tree, if you see, trees are pretty much achal. That refers to they grow at a particular place. You can't move them so randomly until unless they are plants. I'm talking about trees because trees have stronger roots. It's only when the climate is not favorable in nature at that time trees can get uprooted or they pretty much fall down. Now these trees are nothing but patience because when you are growing, you need extreme patience. Even if you grow slowly, I remember someone telling me about McDonald's, which has been recently mocked by various pronunciations by a politician in the recent times. McDonald's ka story has, I'm sorry, not McDonald's, actually KFC. I know it's a, it's a meat-based company. However, the founder of that company started at a pretty late age. He was somewhere in his 50s and 60s to start something like that. But he was patient enough. He had even tried to quit his life multiple times. So if you go and see, he learned that art of patience. And that is exactly what we need to learn from these trees as well. Trees make us patient. Trees make us believe to be patient. And at the same time, and at the same time, there are elements that allow that actually initiate a hustle between the trees, that is our patience, and deliberately breaking that patience. I'll make you understand what I'm trying to say. It's easy, but I haven't said it in the best possible way. Let me make it easy for you. There are trees and there are storms. There are storms who impact such trees. Now, what kind of storms can impact such trees? Storms are nothing but form of ignorance. Ignorance will continuously shatter your patience. There'll be stupid people, stupid questions, stupid situations, lunatic people, people who don't have simple, simple thoughts, simple thinking. They're complicated, they talk crap. And all these ignorant people will continuously test our patience. It tests my patience on daily basis. And trust me, even it's difficult for me as well to deliberately learn this. But nevertheless, that's what life makes us do. This Bhartru Shatak is actually making us understand that we are those trees that represent patience. And there are bhavar, there are strong winds, there are storms, there are so many things that can actually cause decline of that one tree. It can start getting off, it can start getting corroded, it can actually break and fall down. Agnan Rupi Bhavar, that is what is affecting the trees. And the worst part, one of the biggest thing that troubles us on daily basis, tension. Recently, I was reading an article, and apparently, I so much believe in that article. In last 19 years, there has been a 26% increase of deaths because of longer working hours. Anyone who's working more than 55 hours per week is actually facing heart-based diseases, and the lifespan has got affected badly. This is a global level data confirmed by WHO and ILO. If we are working more than 55 hours, one of the major reasons why we are working 55 hours or more than 55 hours is because we are worried, we are tensed about our performances. We are worried that we may not excel. We are worried that we may not meet our deadlines. We are worried, we are tensed that our promotions won't take place. We are worried and we are tensed that we won't be able to pay our debts. We are worried and we are tensed that some other people who started before us, after us, are actually going ahead in life and we are actually stuck. This is nothing but chinta, and chinta represents, tension represents the banks of the river. You go from one tension to other tension. Fine. You scored good marks in 10th, another tension. Score good marks in 12th, another tension. Go do a great MBA. Another tension. Go get a good job. Another tension. Go marry a good girl or a good guy. Another tension. When will you get babies? Another tension. What will we do of these babies? Another tension. Mom is not doing well. Dad is not doing well. Blah 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 blah. If you see, it's a cycle. It's a cycle of tensions. Tension 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're playing tennis between these tensions, and hence it is said this is the tension that represents the banks, and they're there at both the ends. And hence, tasyaha paragata vishuddha manaso नन्नंति योगीश्वरः. इस नदी को पार करना बहुत कठिन है. It's extremely difficult for us to pass such a river that has waves, river that has so much tension around. However, is it possible to pass such river? Yes, absolutely yes. How can you do that? People who have a clean conscience, people who can sacrifice things, people who can do penance, who can focus, people who don't get affected because of a lot of things. Or even if they get affected, they're ready to let it go. Such kind of people face some kind of bliss which makes them better human beings. Now, a lot of times we may feel, is it only possible for people with money to face something like this? Absolutely not. Even if you don't have anything, even if you don't have resources, even if you don't have the luxuries, you can pretty much face this, develop yourself, and eventually get out of this. How do you do that? For that, we need rigorous practice. We are spending 16 to 20 years so that we can earn. We need to spend our entire life so that we can live. We can learn to live. And that's what our Vedic lifestyle is all about. Every day we have to evolve our own self. By our growing age, instead of we getting tensed, with our experience, we should be in a capacity to tackle situations. And when we can't tackle situations, it's our responsibility to go and find the right kind of guru who can actually help us out. What happens when you have the Vidya? What happens when you have the right kind of education? What happens when you have the right kind of skill set? I remember one thing. I had heard someone in my family to say this as well. Whatever you want to do, ensure you top in it. Even if you're going to be a robber, ensure that you are going to be the best robber. Please relax. I'm not requesting you to be a robber. However, I'm making you understand the concept of excellence. I'm not making you understand the concept of perfection. Perfection is a disease, in my opinion. You can never be perfect in your life. Never anyone's life is ever going to be perfect. Ever. Perfection is just your benchmark. Perfection is just your attachment towards the situation you want it in a particular way. Your perfection and someone else's perfection can be absolutely different. However, I'm talking about excellence in terms of skill sets, in terms of portrayal, in terms of taking care of situation. We call it as vyavahara kushalata. Now, I understand everyone doesn't have the same set of skill set, but even if you have one skill set, you don't need words to express it. Your work needs to show that. Your work needs to speak about itself. And for that, you need to strive. I've mentioned this in my previous session, I think. There was this one architect, or there was this one worker who was trying to build a chapel, and he was actually working at the top, probably in the roof area. And he was carving something really nice. Someone at the bottom was yelling at him, "Hey, what are you doing? Don't you understand? Blah, 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 blah." And then he was asking, "Who's going to look at it? Stop doing it." And that's when the guy replied, the person who was actually finishing off that. He said, "But my inner self is actually looking at it. My inner self won't be satisfied if I don't finish this work up to my satisfaction level." Unfortunately, we are so self centered and self minded, we never think about implementing things in the right way. Maybe we doing someone's job. Sorry, we're not that great as employees. Possibly we are too self centered. Maybe we shouldn't be doing such jobs. Maybe we need to improvise, in terms of our behavior. Maybe we need to grow as human beings. And hence, education becomes an extremely important factor in our life. Education becomes an extremely important factor in our life. And same Bhartruhari Shatak, Niti Shatak is now talking about Vidya Namanarasya Rupam Adhikam Paprachan Guptam Nanam. Vidya Bhoga Kari Yashah Sukhakari Vidya Gurunam Guru. Vidya Bandhu Jano Videsha Gamane Vidya Paradevata. Vidya Raja Supujjate Natu Dhanam Vidya Vihinaha Pashuhu. Vidya, that means education. Education is something that makes that human being appropriate. It is an ultimate wealth that cannot be calculated by giving you X amount of salary. It is something that you can learn, and it is something that is going to give you happiness. That same Vidya is something which is Guru's Guru, because that Guru is giving some knowledge, is imparting that knowledge to you. Because the Guru has that Vidya, he can impart it to you. When you go to foreign countries, if you know a particular language, or if you are well versed with what you're going or entering into, it's going to be helpful for your family and your friends. It's one of the biggest identities, it's one of the biggest gods. Those Swadesha Pujyate Rajan Vidwan Sarvatya Pujyate. That means the king is respected in his own kingdom, but a learned person is respected everywhere. Even the kings respect such people. They gave him respect, they gave him money, they gave him full grant facilities. Last but not the least, if you don't have that education, what is the difference between you and an animal? And now this education doesn't refer to our first grade to 12th grade to 15th grade and 18th grade and whatnot grades that we are living in. Education refers to we being human beings and at the same time developing that one skill set that allows us to earn wealth, allows us to be better human beings, allows us to invest in ourselves to be better human beings. Yukti yuktam pragrunniyat baladapi vichakshana. And that's why scriptures also say, even if a small child is teaching you something, be open, learn from that child. That situation helped us understand why Prahlad could actually explain his own friends who were demons. They were asurs, and yet they were listening to Prahlad. Well, that's the beauty of Prahlad's story. I hope in today's session, you guys have learned some newer concept of how to be better human beings. I'm sorry I couldn't touch more about the equity topic, but maybe in the next session, I'll tell you more about how can we be better human beings? How can we understand our Vedic culture and move forward in our lives? Having said that, I surrender my thoughts in the lotus feet of Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Shubham Bhavatu, Krishna Arpanamastu.
ॐ शान्तिः